Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your Dream Coach podcast. My name is Shayla, and I'm really excited to dive in today's episode about intentional living and how that's really going to help support crafting your dream life one intention at a time. And today, I'm going to dive into where we really explore how being intentional in every aspect of your life can absolutely lead to creating the life of your dreams. And so I'm going to dive into how intentional living and how some practical strategies can support shaping your dream life. My husband and I just returned back last night from an incredible 10 days over in Spain and Portugal. And it was such an easy transition to really jump back into the day to day because of the intentional life that I really do believe that I am leading and that I am living. And we were intentional about our time away, intentional about some of our goals and dreams for when we were on that vacation, but then also so intentional and excited about getting back into our life that we really love and we get to live every day. And I've heard a quote a few different ways, but one of the ways that I've remembered it in the best is that really creating a life that you don't have to vacation away from. And I just feel like that's so timely for today's episode because the intentions that I've been able to set personally, professionally, financially, health, all the different ways that we can be intentional, I really do believe has helped me be able to create a life that is my dream life, but it's also a life that I don't feel like I have to escape from. So, simply put, it is about making conscious choices and taking deliberate actions that are going to align with your values, your passions, and your goals. And when you live with intention, you design your life with purpose rather than allowing circumstances or external influences to dictate your path. And while I was away on vacation, I celebrated a birthday. And I don't know what it is about birthdays, but it always, for me, allows time to really reflect on some of the positive things that happened over the year ahead and things that I'm looking forward to. And also just to pause and just to take a minute and say, where am I at? Is this where I want to be? Is this the life that I want to be living? And I'm so grateful to say that I'm exactly where I want to be. Starting this podcast this last year has been something on my dreams list. Being able to travel and share experiences with family and friends and our kids. Different things in my work environment that I've been able to accomplish. And the list goes on and on. But I want to start by discussing the concept of intentional living. And how does being intentional really allow individuals to create the life of their dreams? Well, for me, I feel like one of the biggest things is that living intentionally is about being proactive rather than reactive. And it's about taking ownership of your choices and also your actions. And then that allows us to direct our energy to what truly matters. And when you live with intention, you do have clarity about your values and your priorities. And then that helps align your daily activities with your long term vision. And so this deliberate approach empowers you to create a life that reflects your authentic self and fulfills your deepest desires. And so I just want to share some practical strategies that I have learned personally, but I've also learned from some of the clients that I work with as a business coach for incorporating intentionality into our daily lives. Well, I know for me, I start most of my days off with setting an intention. And whether that it to looks to some people like journaling or that is a practice of gratitude, I think there's a lot of different ways to kick off a day being intentional. And I started this a few years back, and journaling for me wasn't a very natural thing. It's something that I've incorporated into my life now, but years ago, I didn't feel like it was a very natural thing for me. And so I incorporated a strategy, which you may have heard before, where it really is just starting in a place of gratitude. And I'm a big believer that if you are grateful, it's hard to be stressed at the same time. And I know for me living in Canada and having the health and everything that I do have here with my family and the amazing friends and the profession that I've been able to, the career I've really been able to build for myself, it really is sometimes easy to be grateful for so many things to get you out of that circle or that spiral of feeling stressed out a little bit. And so that's exactly how I start my day. I simply just jot down 5 things I'm grateful for. And that intention has helped me just start my day in a place of gratitude most days. And if I'm traveling or if there are days where, things aren't all lined up perfectly, I'm always able to go to that place to say, man, I'm really grateful for blank. And lots of these things that I have written down that I'm intentional about aren't even actually that crazy. Sometimes it's a really nice warm cup of coffee, or it's the sunshine, or it's the littlest things like our health or a date night, right? And so I'm really intentional with the gratitude every single day. And then the other practice that I do is I write down 10 things as if I've made them happen. So whether that is a goal, or I use the word dream, it could be something that I'm working towards in my profession, or it's something with our family, maybe it's a financial goal, but I will write down the same 10 things on there. And so there's things right now I have on my list, like saving X amount of money, in this year. I have things like, doing a girls' trip to Malta in 2025. One of the other goals is a material goal of working towards possibly getting a hot tub and doing some things in our backyard. So there's a few different things that have been on my list for a long time because they're bigger goals. Other goals have been on there, or dreams have been go to Tijuana and build a home for a family. And that was one I had on there through COVID for a few years to just keep me focused on the why. Why am I working hard and how do I want to make a difference? So whatever those goals or dreams are for you, it that doesn't really matter. The point is that it's so intentional in my everyday life that when I wake up and I do my workout routine and I have my coffee and all the things I do in the morning, one of those practices is that intentionality is what are 5 things that I could be grateful for to set my day off in a great space? And then what are 10 things as if I made them happen? And what is so fascinating is that by being intentional with my dreams and with my goals, I have actually been able to check off so many of those in these last few years. And I really do believe that intention and that clarity has helped me make the right decisions. It's helped with my planning, and it's helped so many dreams of mine come true because I've been intentional. So just taking time to reflect on what it is you want to achieve in various areas of your life, your career, relationships, health, personal growth, and then taking that a bit further and setting up, we've talked about, right, those specific measurable goals to guide those actions. So that, along with some mindfulness, along with some planning, allows us to create those dreams and put those into our calendars and work towards those to really make them happen. And I've also really felt that this clarity and this intention has allowed me to eliminate a lot of distractions or even worries about the future, and not worrying about when that next trip is and everything, because it's so exciting to look forward to. And so it's allowed me to really prioritize activities that fuel my life and allow me to show up as my best self in so many aspects of my life. Intentionality also can have a really profound impact on our overall well-being. So thinking about some clients that I've worked with some clients who've experienced significant transformations by embracing intentional living. So for example, one of my clients was sort of kind of feeling stuck in a job that wasn't really bringing them a lot of joy. They just lacked clarity about their path. And then through some of our coaching sessions, really focused on setting intentions and clarifying their values, taking the actions strategically, they were able to gain the confidence to pursue their passion and have now transitioned into a fulfilling career that is aligned with their purpose. And that's a big deal. Right? We spend a lot of hours working in a career to not love it and not to be excited about that. Another one of my clients really struggled with that anxiety and overwhelm just due to a hectic schedule and lack of boundaries. And I see this a lot. And so by prioritizing self care, setting boundaries with their time and their energy, they reclaimed their sense of balance and were able to find a greater peace and fulfillment in their day. And so those are just a few examples of how being intentional can really empower us as individuals to create a positive change in our lives. Right? Other things that I found that just that focus and of being intentional that can be in alignment with allowing us to create the life of our dreams is clarity of purpose. So when you're really intentional, that can provide clarity in our lives by helping us, like I mentioned earlier, really identifying values, passions, and goals. So sometimes I see people that just get so caught up in the day to day that they're just sort of going through the motions. And it makes me really sad. I think that there's probably majority of people, I'd have to say, really wake up, go to a job they don't love, go home, have dinner, maybe watch Netflix, and then, go and do it all over again. And those are the people that are on the Instagram or social media, looking at other people's lives saying, why not me? And that is where we need to flip that switch and create that purpose. And if you're not that person, you're like, oh man, I'm already living a life that is full and exciting. That's amazing. Let's take it a deep further to even be more intentional with what we want to achieve and where we focus our energy and our resources even more effectively. And so, someone who sets intention of pursuing a career or networking opportunities, or maybe advancing in certain educations, or maybe it's projects they're going after, you will start to attract that based on that clarity of your values, their passions, and your goals. I've also really found that my intentionality has increased my productivity. And some of you might be familiar with the book, The One Thing. And I listen to that podcast intermittently as well. And what I have found is that one of the things that obviously the book and the podcast really focuses is on that one thing. And I know for me, with lots of different plates spinning, if I wake up and just really focus on one thing that has to get done for today to be a success, I have found it reduces a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and I don't get stuck in that place of not ever feeling like I haven't done enough. And the way that I've looked at it is, if I just do one thing every day, that is my like must do thing. And you look at that over a year of 365 days, you're going to make a lot of progress. Now, obviously, there's a lot more than just one thing on my list. I do multiple things, but just that feeling of pride of being intentional in the morning. Hey, if this one thing gets done today, today's a win. Everything else is going to be bonus. Now, my day is really structured to being, having priorities, and there's a lot of intention in the whole day and the month and the years and all that. But I have just found for me that one little takeaway of, okay, if this one thing gets done, it's going to increase my productivity because I'm not going to feel like I'm not doing enough. And it's going to guide my actions towards things are meaningful, which in the end is allowing me to accomplish those bigger dreams, goals that I have set for myself. I've even taken this a little bit further to enhancing relationships. And I met a friend a while ago for just a coffee. And something that her and I were talking about was this whole idea of being intentional. And I love having so many great friends in my life that ask questions that are so intentional, right? I know I'm using this word a lot, but this is the purpose of this podcast today, or the focus, right? Is they're intentional. And it's not just, hey, how's it going? Her question was, hey, what is the one thing that you're most excited about this year that doesn't have to do with work? I was like, oh, I love this. What a great question, right? We're not talking about people. We're not talking about problems. We're talking about things that excite us. And what I took away from that coffee was just, man, when you go into even an event, a conference, a dinner, a coffee date with friends, whatever that looks like, when you just take a minute to just set an intention before that interaction, oh man, it makes that time just way more meaningful. The conversations are so exciting and clear. There's that appreciation for each other. And I know that time is really one of our most precious gifts that we have. And I really don't take that lightly. And so when I set an intention, when I'm with somebody, I know that that fulfillment that I leave with is always enhanced when I am focused on what my intention is with that time spent with whoever that is. I've also really found that intention has allowed me even more personal growth. And intentionality really is a catalyst for personal growth and development, as it encourages self reflection, learning, continuous improvement. By being intentional and seeking out opportunities for growth and even challenging ourselves to step outside of our comfort zones, we expand our capabilities and we realize our full potential. So, as individuals that are committed to personal growth, may even consider setting intentions to learning new skills, seeking constructive feedback. I always feel like that's such a two-sided thing, because if you're really intentional about growing, that feedback is something that we really seek. And I feel like that is such a powerful thing when we can allow that feedback in our life without getting defensive, upset, sensitive, right? And that's again that intentionality of wanting to grow. Embracing challenges as opportunities for development. I love that. And I love using the word challenge instead of problems. And just even being intentional, right? That makes me think of being intentional of our language. How do we speak to ourselves? How do we reframe situations? And that's again, that comes to being intentional. And that's going to allow you to be in that dreams mindset of, man, if I am growing here and I'm focusing here, that is going to build onto living a life that is of your dreams. I find that mindful living is something else that I feel comes to mind with intention. Intentionality really fostering mindfulness by encouraging us to feel fully present. And this is a big one because I know for me, I live a busy life and I choose that life. I choose to be busy. I choose to have a full life. I know that's not for everybody, but I really love to have the intentionality that allows me to just be mindful. And so, what I mean by that is it allows me to be more present in conversations, being more thoughtful with my feelings, actions. And so, when we approach life with intention, we become more attuned to the present moment, appreciating all of that beauty around us, and experience a greater sense of fulfillment. So, for example, someone that practices intentional living may incorporate mindfulness techniques like meditation, deep breathing, maybe yoga, right? I talked about journaling into their daily routine to really stay grounded, to stay centered. And how I really feel about all of these ideas and thoughts is that we are in the life that we're creating for ourselves. And I've always really felt that, you need to enjoy the journey. For me, I'm not going to be happier in 5 years or 8 years or 10 years when I've gone on another trip or I've got more money in my bank account or whatever that is. My dream life is right now, right? I need to be intentional with what's happening today. Because if I can't feel that joy and be living my dream life today, am I ever really going to get there? And I don't believe that I would. Is that I've really had to be intentional with what matters now. And that's where I talked about that gratitude, being intentional with things that I want to shape my life around. Resilience and adaptability is kind of the last touch point I want to go through today. And intentional living, again, I believe equips us with the resilience and adaptability needed to navigate life's challenges and setbacks effectively. And so, by maintaining that clear sense of purpose and direction, even in the face of adversity, which happens to all of us, and yes, it looks different in many lives, but by being intentional and clear, we are more resilient and adaptable. And we can overcome obstacles with grace and perseverance. And so, when I coach, for instance, an entrepreneur who faces setbacks in their business, we just look at approaching the situation with resilience, leveraging lessons to learn, how to pivot their strategy, and how to look and pursue those new opportunities. So, in conclusion, embracing intentionality has the power to transform our lives in profound and positive ways. So, by cultivating clarity of purpose, increasing productivity, enhancing relationships, fostering personal growth, practicing mindful living, and cultivating resilience, we can unlock a life filled with meaning, fulfillment, and success. So let us strive to approach each day with intention, mindful of the choices that we make and the impact that they have on our journey toward becoming the best version of ourselves. Thanks again for tuning in to our podcast today. If you like the episode, please share on your social medias and tag your Dream Coach podcast. And if you like the podcast, also subscribe and look forward to seeing you on our next episode.